Now, if you haven't been paying too much attention to the overall CS market, you probably think not too much has been going on. Obviously, we got the Austin Major qualifiers, which we'll talk about in a quick second, but there's one area that's absolutely exploding when it comes to the market, and that's actually going to be the high tier items. Now, honestly, I don't really talk about them for a number of different reasons. The majority is you really probably aren't going to be watching this channel if you've got tens of thousands of dollars in high tier gems, high tier gloves. It's just usually not the demographic that watch these videos because most of those items don't really move too much. You don't really need to stay informed on the market when an item slowly grows over time, maybe getting your 5 or 10%, but that's been blown out of the water. We're seeing 20-30% growth over the span of just maybe a month or two for a lot of these extremely expensive items. We're talking about items that are over $5,000 USD. They are going up at a crazy rate, and it's definitely something that is really fueled by the buff craze we're seeing right now. People on buff are really interested in these items. That's where we're seeing the majority of these transactions go down. It's absolutely insane how much value has been created because these items are so expensive to begin with. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars in growth on just a singular item, and it doesn't seem like really there's actually that much stopping it from going at least a little bit further. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with their exclusive new reward system with a reward of up to $50 today when you're using code MASTER. They have mastered the skins game, offering one of the largest selections of skins if you're looking to trade out your old ones, one of the best rates in the market if you're trying to sell off instantly, and it's completely safe. And they've got their own buying page, which is offering a massive 40% discount on every single skin they have. So what are you waiting for? Claim your exclusive up to $50 rewards by using code MASTER on SkinSwap. Now, here for the Austin Major, got a lot of brand new information. First up, there's going to be actually 32 teams competed, which is the largest amount we've ever seen. But more importantly, there's actually 3 separate stages, so let's break those down. First up, we have stage 1. This is going to be your lowest level of invite that you can actually qualify for. A lot of these come from the actual qualifier rounds. 8 of these teams of these 16 are going to be moving on into stage 2. Stage 2 is going to be a little bit different. This time we've got 8 preset teams, which you can see right here, that are going to be facing off against the 8 teams that moved on. 8 of these teams out of the 16 total right here are then going to qualify for stage 1. Stage 1 is going to be another 8 preset teams qualifying against the 8 teams that just moved on. There's a lot of bracket you have to go through if you're a stage 1 team trying to make it to the playoffs, because only 8 of these teams right here are going to be making it to the playoffs, so it's a lot to go through. If you want to think of it in the way of previous majors, basically there's just another qualifying round before the actual challenger stage, which is basically stage 2, and the legend stage, which is basically stage 3, and then you still have the playoffs, which we don't know if they're going to be separate or how exactly they're going to work, but there's a lot of bracket you need to go through for some of these young teams who are just barely making the qualifiers. And speaking of which, who exactly is making the major? Well, first up, we'll talk about our stage 3 teams. These are the teams that got the furthest head start. It's going to be Vitality, Spirit, Mouse, Aurora, Navi, G2, Mongols, and Liquid. No real big questions here. The biggest thing is 6 of these are Europe, 1 is Asia, and 1 is from the Americas. Now, talking about those stage 2 teams that are getting the head start, this is a little bit of a head start, but nothing crazy. There's going to be 4 Europe, 4 Americas. We've got FaZe, Falcons, VP, 3D Max, and for Americas, we've got Pain, Furia, M80, and MIBR. Now, here is stage 1, and this is where things are going to be getting extremely interesting. First up, not all qualifiers are done. We've got 6 teams in there right now, and it's going to be continually going up. Heroic is probably the only real name you know here outside of Lin Vision. It's going to be a lot of smaller teams making this. If you want to look at the real things making up these qualifiers, we've got a lot of interesting games that you're probably pretty familiar with the teams. We've got Fluxo, Imperial, we've got Tai Lu, who do have a chance still to qualify here. Then we've got FlyQuest, who was just in the previous major as well. For our North American qualifier, we've got Complexity, which will be a crazy return. Also, NRG is in here. And then the majority of the games left are going to be inside of this area for the Europe. You can see right here a couple teams, big notable names did not make it, include Gamer Legion and Fnatic. It's going to be finishing up today, so you're going to be able to see exactly who's there if you're really interested. But I'm really excited to see this new format because I think majors have been getting a little bit stale. Now, if you've been sitting on Armory stars, I have no idea what you've been doing because the fever case has been the guaranteed profit method for these Armory stars, and it doesn't look like it's going to be changing anytime soon. It's still at a $2 price point, and there's a lot of things you need to realize with this. First up, you've been able to sell it on the market for almost 10 days now, which means it's been available for over 2 weeks inside of the game, and it's still sitting at a $2 price point. This is crazy and not what I really expected. I definitely expected a strong price point, but people are really after this case, and that's a really good look for it to stay in the Armory like nearly forever. It's kind of the bad part about this, but still, people are really interested in the fever case, and that's not going to be changing anytime soon. Now, giving you your quick 20-second an Armory rundown, the XM1014 is actually profitable right now, which is kind of crazy. Your stickers are slightly profitable, but otherwise the rest of the situation is pretty dire. Train collection 90%, sport and field 90%, the overpass and the graphic are quite low, and the charms are just kind of forgotten about. Overall, not a great situation for the Armory on the ROI, but your fever case is bringing that home. Now, talking about the overall situation when it comes to cases, I would be lying if I did not say this is the highest number I can reasonably remember seeing for the unboxing rate, especially in the past week. We're looking at 10 million cases, and if we want to look at the month, we can definitely see it's on the upward trajectory at 39 million cases. This is extremely good. However, a lot of this is definitely concentrated in those active duty and the purchasable cases. Not necessarily a bad thing, but we would love to see a little bit more on the rare case market. That being said, the rare cases themselves are still doing quite solid. A lot of them are still sitting in that stagnant position, which is honestly pretty solid when we consider the fact is the supply on this thing is going down. We can see the demand for the majority of these cases is quite consistent and not something I really expect to be changing. They just don't have the interest right now, and sometimes that's the way it goes. But if you want my honest opinion, that's usually the best time to get into cases. It means you're getting the most fair value for whatever that case is really worth, and honestly, in the current situation, I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing for the next month or so, especially if we don't see any crazy hype. But I'm completely okay with that because this is a long-term game and not a short one. Now, we talked about it in a previous video, but I wanted to give an update. It seems like filler skins for the most part have really stabilized. If this is something you want to get into, especially for these light blue skins, it doesn't seem like too much price movement is really going to happen, and this is kind of the price you're going to be sitting at if you want to buy. For the blue skins, it's still a little bit more volatile. Once again, I highly recommend you go for one of the alternative collections rather than just the train. You've got 3 great options if you're trying to get in here, but overall, the price points seem to kind of have stabilized. If this is an investment you want to make, now is probably going to be your most opportune time. Otherwise, we've got a lot of new interesting data I want to go over. First up, we've got the Boston application numbers right here. A little bit of an older major, interesting to see. A lot of brand new Shanghai numbers that we haven't really gone over. I'm interested to see that it is on an upwards trajectory, but I don't think it really means too much. The supply of these is crazy. Most interesting though is going to be the poorly drawn sticker capsule application right here. As you can see, the majority of sticker capsules aren't getting that much in applications, which is really interesting moving forward when we see the elemental and the character craft, how in demand they are. I think this is a huge opportunity for these two right here, especially if they do get removed. With that being said, I still unfortunately don't think it's a perfect opportunity to get into these because they are in the shop and it's so volatile, being that they are one of the few opportunities for profit right now. Now, what should you do right now? In my honest opinion, if you're looking to get into filler skins, I don't think the prices are going to be going any lower, and now that they are kind of a discontinued area, depending on where you're looking at, it could be a good opportunity. Otherwise, I'm just watching the case market right now. These are the highest unboxing numbers we've seen in a significant amount of time, and I'm really interested to see what the payoff is going to specifically be for investors. That's all I want to thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.